Well, hey everybody. I wanted to pop on because today is 11/11 and it is a portal day. And I didn't think I'd have time to pop on live, but I just thought it would be a beautiful thing to do so we could all connect into this incredible frequency. So I want to remind you that when we have a portal day like 11/11, the veil is very thin. And when the veil is thin, we feel more connected to our essence, to our soul, to who it is that we really are at the core of our being. And our ancestors and the great grandmothers and grandfathers are close and nearby. Beings from other dimensions are here with us. The angels are close, and we can open the frequency of flow. Of synchronicity, of magic. And it's also a vibration of union. And because 11/11 is 1/1 and 1111 is 2/2, which is also connected with Mary Magdalene. Her number is 22. And as many of you know, I've been really working with her in the last few weeks and connecting with her vibration as I am preparing all of us for the event of the year, which is the Divine Feminine Light Code that begins December 4th on the full moon and carries us through light conception on December 8th and brings us to the 12/12 portal, where we come into union with Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, Christ consciousness, masculine, feminine, divine union, to give birth at the winter solstice, right when Three Eye Atlas is coming closest to Earth. So it's kind of pretty epic. And I know I've been talking all year about this, but we are coming into it. And so, what does today have to do with that? Well, today is 11/11, and it's 28 days between now and December 8th when we're going to work with this light conception where we conceive and attune to the avatar of our own divine self with our avatar light being. And so for the next 28 or 40 days, depending on how committed you feel or are willing or wanting, Raphael has asked us to really open our hearts to the divine, to fully connect with our soul. And to connect with our soul often means we need to be quiet or go into the darkness or the spaciousness, the emptiness, the place of nothing. And so in the last few days, I've been really connecting and asking Raphael, well, what does that mean? Because Raphael asked me to do a process for 40 days, and it's personal. I'm going to do that process myself. But I said, well, what process could be shared with our community that they could also do between now and the winter solstice while we're in the divine feminine code? And she started to bring me through the chakras and the clearing and the cleansing and the opening of all of our systems, starting from the feet into the perineum, and then, of course, moving up right into the root and the sacral and the solar and the heart and the throat and the third eye and the crown. And connecting, and how do we open them? How do we get them clear? How do we expand them so that we can really connect with our essence, with our soul? And today in class, we went through 11 gateways for the 11/11 portal day. And each gateway that we went through opened up one of those centers and brought us into alignment with our divine child, the divine spark, the avatar within, as it came down to merge in our heart center. So I'm going to share with you what they are. They're not anything that you haven't heard about, but it's a willingness to make commitment. Because when we make commitment to do something, especially when we're busy and distracted, we have a million things to do, and we're like, I could never do that. But when we collectively say, okay, I'm going to do something, and we collectively join together, we create a potency. And we say to the universe, I'm worthy and willing and wanting to hear my divine self, to connect with my divine self, to come into union. Because we're going to be working in the divine feminine code with light, with the consciousness of the divine masculine, the divine feminine, Christ consciousness, Mary Magdalene's vibration, the divine feminine, Sophia, the great mother, the Black Madonna, right? And all those energies merging as one to give this birth at the winter solstice that we've been talking about since the spring equinox. So, what are they? I did them all today. They're not that hard. It didn't take me that long, but there's a sweetness to it. So, you start at the bottom, at your feet, And you go outside, and it's freezing where I live right now, but I had to go outside, and the deer were out, and I went out barefoot, and I just walked for a period of time. And you can do it however long you want, the freezing cold barefoot. And I just really grounded. And of course, the deer came, and we made eye contact, and I connected with spirit, and I felt connected to the earth. So that's the first thing. Then, as we start to move up, I was asked to wash my feet in a sense of an anointing, because we're going through this process of loving ourselves as the divine, seeing ourselves worthy of that. And so, kind of like an old fashioned washing my feet with warm water, I put in some rose droplets. You could put in some essential oils, and just like taking the time to be present with yourself and a willingness to do that. You won't believe how sweet and nurturing that is. You could also just massage your feet with some beautiful oils and just take the time to be present. You can even put on your blindfold, right? We've been asked a lot to be in the darkness, and do it in the dark and feel the water or feel the oil and just nurture and love yourself. And then you can bless the water and go through an anointing of the feet, anointing of the womb chakra, the heart, and the third eye, the three eyes. Then we start to move up the body, and we come into this space where the rose has really been coming up, because we've been working with Mary Magdalene and the beauty of the rose and how incredible it is. I'm not somebody who normally loved roses, but I've been really tuning into their frequency, and they're incredible. They can absorb things, they can share things, they feel the frequency of love, their scent. And so today I had to go to the stores. You can see I've got roses behind me, and I've been keeping them there every day, alive and fresh for a long time now. So I've been asked to do that by spirit. And so that's one of the things, to have roses around you and to keep them alive and fresh, to tend to them, or to give a rose away to somebody every day for the next 40 days. So just, if you have a bouquet, you pull one out and you give it to a stranger or a friend or a beloved. Um, or you can give them today I gave somebody just a whole bouquet. Or you can go and drop it somewhere as an offering to someone, or to a teacher or a school, or whatever you want. And then we move up into the womb in the darkness. So that's where this comes in handy. You guys know that I went into that darkness retreat for 3 days. So inviting you to go into the dark, put a blindfold on, or sit in your closet. I know it sounds a little strange, but just be in the dark and be present in that darkness. Because as we're receiving all these gifts that are coming in December, being in that fertile black light is very important, to be receptive to what's coming in. And then we start to move up, right, from there, and we begin to move into the heart. And right now, wherever you are in the world, or if you're listening to this, just put your hand on your heart, and whatever your name is, I want you to just say, take a nice breath and say, I'm going to say my name. It's hard. It's kind of a hard thing to do, more than you'd think, and just say, I love you, Kelly. I love you, Kelly. Hmm. And say that a few times to yourself and really feel into that. It totally settles the nervous system. It starts to bring into the union frequency. All right, then we're going to move up further. We're going to come into the lungs and the breath. And so doing breath work, I do pranayama, right? You breathe in on one nostril, hold for 6, then close for 3, and then exhale for 6, and go back and forth. And you can do that for a period of time. It opens everything up. You could do box breathing, any kind of breathing you want, Wim Hof breathing, just really align with your breath. Then as we move up further, we're going to come into the mind, obviously meditation. I've been asked to meditate for an hour and 44 minutes. It feels very long, but you might want to meditate for 5 minutes. You can do a lot of these all at once. You can put your blindfold on and meditate while you're aware of your breathing, while you're saying, I love you, and you knock out like 5 of the 11 all in one go. And then once you do that, you come up into the crown, right? And the crown is the spaciousness, the connection to spirit, and that's just being. Like, can you just sit and do nothing, not even meditate, just do nothing? look out the window for a few minutes. And so if you feel like, okay, I'm up for it, I'm going to do it. And they seem like, I think the whole thing, I mean, going and getting the roses and handing them out takes a little time. But the rest of it, we probably can combine it all. And if you wanted to do it in 30 minutes or less, not that we're trying to rush, but if you're feeling overwhelmed, or you can say, I just really resonated. I'm gonna really work with my breath for 10 minutes every day between now and the activation on the 21st. Or I'm going to give a rose, or I'm gonna meditate a little longer in the morning, or I'm gonna sit in the darkness, or I'm gonna just go out and walk barefoot. Just pick one if you don't have the bandwidth to do all. But this 1111 portal today is inviting us. Those are the 11 gateways. It's asking us to move from the feet up through the crown into the cosmos. Because as this wave of love and energy comes in December, we have to be able to be prepared to receive it. And we're in this receptivity, this spaciousness of the divine feminine, right? So when we work with Mary Magdalene, as she was saying yesterday, as I did a transmission with her, she came in and she was like, she's been waiting in the dark, in the emptiness, and behind the scenes, in the forbidden places where she has been forgotten and told that she was stories told of her of untruths based in illusion and separation and hierarchy, waiting for thousands of years to pass for a moment where the truth of who she really was would rise and come again so that we could remember her as she comes into union with the Christ consciousness. So this time is union, right? 1111 is union. It's 1 1 and 1 1 is 2 2, but it's a union of the divine masculine and the feminine, both of which have been deeply out of balance, not one greater or less than another, but the divine feminine so deeply forgotten, hidden, suppressed in the shadows, behind the scenes, and it's arising. And so we're being asked at this time to come into union with ourself, the union between our masculine and our feminine, right? Sometimes they call it the bridal chamber, a ritual. And so these are rituals that are old and easy and simple that we all know, that aren't that big of a deal, but it is, are we willing to do them? Are we willing to take the extra time? And when we put out the flowers and we light the candles and we make the altar and we walk in the woods and we take time to connect with our breath and to say, I love you, and to wash our feet and to anoint our body and to be in the darkness and to meditate and to fast. That's the one I forgot, fasting. I completely forgot the solar plexus. So, in order to get the anga, the fire, right, in the solar plexus to start to rise, it's asking us to put less food in there. And so, when you think about some of these traditions that can't come up in different religions, right, they'll ask us to give up something. And I remember as a kid, like, what difference does that make? I don't understand that. Or to fast, or it just seemed like a bunch of baloney. But if you go behind the dogma, right, like anything, there's truth in it, because when we're empty, when we're meditating, when our mind is empty, when our stomach is empty, when our breath, when we're aligning with our breath, when we're connecting to the ground, we're able to hear spirit, right? Because there's space for to hear the voice of the universe, the voice of God. So there's a reason for the fasting. It's not just like to punish ourselves so you can't have meat on Friday or whatever the ridiculous story was. It's to connect, right, with our essence, with our soul, with spirit. And so the 1111 is a portal to the divine, to that beauty, to that connection. And so during this 1111 time, as the veil is thin, I'm inviting you to connect to some of these old ways that are and reincorporate them in your experience. We'll be coming up to, in the United States anyway, Thanksgiving and Christmas time or Hanukkah or different things that people are celebrating. And there's a lot of busyness. I got to do this and I got to do that, and distraction and purchasing and consuming and overeating and overindulging. And so this is a time that we're being asked between now and the winter solstice, as we move through the divine feminine light code, to just create some spaciousness, kind of pull back a little, get some clarity as to what is important, why we're doing what we're doing. Are we doing it to please people? Are we doing it because we know we should, or we always did, or that's how it should be? Or are we doing it from a place of joy? And because we want to make that, that food for the holiday, or we want to wrap that gift pretty because we want to give it to someone because we're honoring them and we love them. Or is it coming from a place of should because we've always done it that way? Maybe we won't do it that way this year. Maybe you'll just say, forget it. I'm not bringing up the boxes from the basement, or we're going to go out to dinner, I am going to do it, but simpler with more meaning and more love and less stuff. So just tap into that. And if you want to be with us, I have an exciting announcement. I don't know how many of you guys know Emilio Ortiz. He's like the sweetest ever. He has a podcast called Just Tapped In. And I'm going to pair up with him as he holds the Christ consciousness frequency and does a program on that, while I carry the Mary Magdalene energy, the Divine Mother, the feminine vibration. And we're going to merge our communities together starting on the full moon on the 4th of December. And we're going to go through this unfoldment, this initiation as a collaborative communities together until we get to the winter solstice. So if you feel called to be with us on that journey, I'll put a link below and you can join us. And if you don't feel called to do that, but you want to just do it on your own, that's okay too. But these are some of the practices to prepare in whatever way you're going to go through that initiation, that process we're moving into in December as this wave of love comes, as we connect with Three Eye Atlas, as it opens the three eyes in us, in our third eye, our heart, and our womb center. We're going to go through the initiation of activating our pineal gland, our heart, and our womb. We're going to move into light conception. We're going to weave the divine feminine and the divine masculine together. Feel the frequencies that are coming from the galactic core, and then give birth on the 21st at the summer solstice, something that's been honored. I mean, the winter solstice or the summer, if you're in Australia or New Zealand or many other places. I don't want to leave you out, right? It's the balance of the light and the dark, the divine masculine, the feminine. And there is a reason why ancient cultures built temples around the solstices and the equinoxes, not just for fun. There was a purpose to it. And they came together in community because it is a time of activation. Just like today, 11/11 is a time of activation. It is a portal when the veil is thin. So I wanted to pop on and share all that with you, invite you to connect with those practices if you feel called to do them in community with one another, with me, with Emilio. Um, and I'm excited to be on this journey with everybody. It feels really big. I was talking today with Emilio about the fact that in 1987, there was the harmonic convergence. And that was when I started to open up to channeling. My full awakening into channeling, which I wasn't trying to do or knew what it was actually in 89. And Raphael said back then that there would be many waves that would hit the planet where more and more people would wake up. And that this was one, of course, there were many before, right, 1987. But, a lot of people, if you read a lot of spiritual books, you'd be surprised that you'll see this thread of some of the older teachers talking about that awakening during that time. It was a flooding of connection to the divine and beings coming in and people kind of opening their hearts to connecting with them. But I was saying today when I was talking to Emilio, or I think maybe Raphael was saying it, I can't tell anymore, all the energies blended together, was that in December, as this wave of energy comes in, more and more of our hearts are going to be soft. Like the armor is falling away. And there's this softening, like the door to the heart is ajar and the light is cracking and coming in. And as we open the heart more, right, and we prepare for these energies that are arriving, the floodgates of this love, this unity consciousness, this oneness will start to pulsate and move through our blood and move through us. We carry the memories of the ancient codes inside of our cells, inside our blood, inside our being, right? and we'll start remembering them. So if you're starting to feel like floods of memories of times of other lifetimes, or being a star being, or connecting with the indigenous teachings, and a need to be outside or in nature or with the animals, or things are coming in strong for you, you're not alone. A lot of us are feeling that. When I was a kid, I had this gift. My mom would tell me that people would come to the house, and I would say, "Oh, mom, that lady, blah, 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 like she's going to get divorced, or she's unhappy," or I would know things about people. My mom would be like, "What? How would you possibly know that?" And then, although I channel and everything, that gift of really hearing something about, like, a download of somebody, kind of fell away. And just the other day, I was out taking a walk with my husband in the town I live in, and as I was walking by everyone, I was getting like a printout, like a full download about them and their life and their heart, and whether it was closed or if it was open or anything. And I could feel their essence. And Raphael was like, "Yeah, we're coming in to like soften the hearts," because a lot of the hearts felt kind of not hard, but shut, right? Shut down from the pain that we've experienced in the human experience, the suffering, the grief, the separation, the rejection, all of the wounds, abandonment, humiliation, betrayal, right? That we've all experienced, me included, of course. And it was like this flood of energy that's arriving is to soften that, is to soften the heart, and to soften the third eye, to bring the left and the right hemisphere back into union, to bring the heart of the male and the female back into union, to bring the womb space, the womb chakra, right? That we very rarely talk about the womb chakra, but we all have one, whether we're a male or a female. The lineage of our ancestors, the healing that takes place there to come into union. So all of this stuff is up right now, and I'm just inviting you to be compassionate with yourself. What I don't want to say easy, but because it also at the same time it requires some chutzpah, like to take the time to take care of yourself, to take care of those around you, in the most nourishing way possible, in the simplest way, and to go through some of those practices that I mentioned and to honor them and bring them back online during this time. So I wanted to get on today, and I just wanted to say happy 11/11. If you've been seeing 11/11 on your clock for years, that's the universe has been talking to you and saying that the angels are here whispering words of love in your ear to remind you that you are divine and perfect as you are. And we are on a journey the next 3 to 5 years. It's going to be wild and intense, and the world may shift a bit and change, but we'll get through it together and we'll experience it together, the separation and the pain that we've had, but we'll also experience the union, the love, and the remembering. So that's all I have to say. And yeah, I'm excited to merge our communities, a convergence, a remembrance convergence, we're saying, between Emilio Ortiz's community and my community, where both memberships, you'll get both, and you'll get the codes and the love and the activations. And we're going to have a good time in the month of December. So that's what's up with me. I hope that you guys are good. Happy 11/11. I love you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow on the free Wednesday call. I have a feeling we'll have an appearance from Mary Magdalene. Maybe we'll talk to her for a little bit. I haven't been able to read the comments. People are mostly just saying love, love, love. Much love from all over. Thank you so much. Happy 11/11. Well, I love you all too so much, and just keep radiating that love out in the world. So I'm going to go take a walk. It's super windy out. Enjoy the element of the wind, not fight it, not resist it, just flow with it. And I'll see everybody else tomorrow, either in class or on the 3 o'clock call. And I wish you a beautiful portal day where you allow yourself to receive the codes of light from the great central sun, as the flares are strong today and the sun is talking to us because it's carrying the codes The sun carries its codes through the winds. Maybe that's why it's so windy out to us right now. And it's also carrying the codes from Three Eye Atlas that come from that ancient core of the galactic realms, bringing us waves of love. So allow yourself to feel into that and remember that you are loved and that you are one with everything. That the idea of separation truly is an illusion that we're awakening into the remembering of who we are. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great 11/11. Many blessings to you all, and I'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye. How do I turn it off? There we go. Bye, guys.